Hello everyone and welcome to Big Talk on Global Television's a program where we express some major situations and developments in the country and around the world. And of course, today we'll be taking a look at the issues of food insecurity and the adverse impact on Benue farmers. We all know Benue State to be the food basket of the nation. But recently, due to several attacks on the farmers and some other issues, we want to know, and of course, that is why we're taking this program to make a focus on Benue State to find out if Benue State are still really the food basket of the nation, and of course, they are living to their expectations regarding the current state of the country, where we are looking for food to eat, and this has caused a lot of protests in the country, in Niger State, in Kano State, and everywhere. And this has given rise to the increase of insecurities, kidnapping issues, and robbery, and all of those social menace that is actually happening around the world and in the country, precisely Nigeria. So we'll be taking a look at that, and of course, Sesu Dishes, who is APC chieftain in Benue State, will be joining me for these conversations tonight. Good to have you, Sesu.
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, we quite understand, as I earlier stated, that Benue is the food basket of the nation. And let me begin. Let me first start going to politics. Today, there's a development so far, as an APC member, that your governor, some people have accused the governor to be interfering in the issues of the party. Appointed a party APC acting chairman, and now the court have reversed the judgment, and of course, I said that the current chairman should proceed. What can you say about the issues regarding the APC chairmanship in Benue State?
Anyways, my take on the question thrown at me would be this way. In democracy, there are certain interests. And of course, the coming on board of the present government of Reverend Father Hyson Yomem earlier in the state, he has never been a politician. And when new governments are formed, of course, they come with their own people. And for every new government, each of the former governments before the new government, or the part of B, or do I say the establishment, every governor or the people in the government want to also have a say. So basically, I would say what's happening in Benue State is it's power play. It's people trying to project their interest. And of course, in politics, what matters is interest. So for now, I would say there's no cause for alarm. Of course, it's expected in politics. In
politics, yeah, for all of those drama.
Sure.
How can you really assess the governor so far in office? Is there any change from your former governor? Has he makes any moves? Not really in project, because I quite understand it's not even up to a year. But so far, what are the body move economically, politically, and all of those aspects? How can you assess him so far?
Anyway, it's coming from me as a member of the ruling All Progressive Congress.
But this time, talk as a true Nigerian who wants a development for Benue people.
No problems. This is my point. We're not practicing independent candidacy. So a party features a candidate for an election. Before the Reverend Father became the governor of the state, he was featured on the ballot as a member of a political party.
Yes, yes.
So whatever he does, the party takes credit, either credit or the party is criticized. So that it's in that line that I'm trying to outline his achievements or to rate him based on that party he represents. So my point is, coming in at a time like this, the former governor, who was of the PDP stock, he did his own bit, but his performance was abysmally rated, and I think it wasn't up to expectation. So we came in at a time that the whole lot has gone bad. So we came with that mandate that we're going to right the wrongs of the former administration of former Governor Samuel Otom. So far, the governor's performance, it's in line with the APC promises to the Benue people. I think the people are still pleased with the performance of the governor so far. So the APC takes the credit.
So, so far, are you sure the people are really happy? Well, let me take to some political issues again. The appointment of your former governor, George Gume, has also was not really. Some people, some quarters of APC in your state were attacking that appointment. I don't know. There were times last year, they launched an attack on the secretary to this federal government. What can you say about that?
Well, when you say attacks were launched at the person of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator Dr. George Akume, I stand to disagree with that, because when you say attacks, it was more of an ethnic agenda. You know, in Benue State, we have three major ethnic groups. That is the Thieves, the Idomas, and the Igedes. Of course, in the Thief-speaking area, there are 14 local governments. That is Zone B and Zone A, into 7 local government each from these 2 zones. So when you go to the Zone C, you have 9 local governments. The Idomas are having 7, while the Igedes have 2. But that's by the way. You know, the issue of his appointment, there was no way any other person in the state would have criticized his appointment because he's been instrumental to APC's performance in the state. He has been the backbone of the party in the state from time immemorial. He has done a whole lot for the party's sustenance in the state. So when it comes to who leads the party in the state, I think there's no question about that until now that we have a governor. You know, conventionally, the governor is the leader of the party in the state. So I don't agree with that suggestion that says that the person of Senator Dr. George Akome is criticized on the basis that his appointment was not quite accepted by party faithfuls in the state.
Some regions are saying that they would have actually had a good son or a good representative other than where George is from.
Other than where George is from?
Yes.
Well, I don't know what they
mean
by that.
Where is the governor? Which block is the governor from? Let's understand, because Nigerians are watching.
I think it's about time we try to put clarity to some of these things that are misinformed and not well articulated. You know, when it comes to issue of governance and the creation of 6 geopolitical zones that we have today, it's political patronage just to give minority tribes a sense of belonging. For instance, I'm a Thief man from Benue State. Perhaps I'm a minority in northern Nigeria. But for the sake of or the advent of 6 geopolitical zones, I am given a sense of belonging when it comes to North Central. So basically, when you talk about Benue's politics, you have 3 different zones in Benue State. This should not be misunderstood or shouldn't be something that someone would question as to whether or not.
Are the current political leaders, I mean political bloc, are the 3 zones well represented? What I mean is that if Zone A has a governor,
yes,
Zone B has a minister or
yes,
a secretary, Zone C also have, because these are the issues that always arise.
Okay.
When Zone C does not see that, you know, for many years, nothing has actually come to their state, they have not been governor, they have not been SGF currently, they have not been a minister, they have not been a senator, it calls for a political provocation, even when you're a minority. So is that the case in Benue State?
Anyways, with greatest respect to my Idoma brothers, because in this equation of who gets what among the 3 major languages in the state, of course, the Idomas would also want to have that sense of belonging.
They have not been governor before?
They haven't been governor, but that's not to say that they've not been carried along, because like they say in politics is a game of numbers. The thieves have the numbers. So
Idomas are
right?
Minority in the state.
The Idomas are the minority in the state. And for what it's worth, I take you back to previous administrations. There was a time in this country that we, the Benue people, produced the Senate president in person of Senator David Mark, right? At the same time, we had Senator Patrick Abamoro as a minister. Heavens was not let loose. The Idomas were at the helm of affairs. You have an Idoma Senate president, there was an Idoma minister. But we felt comfortable with that.
But they just want the governor.
They want the governor. Well, in the game of who becomes the governor, it's about negotiations and compromise. Okay? You need the numbers for you to become the governor.
Did an Idoma son contested for the last election?
The Idomas contested, of course. The present deputy governor of the state came 3rd in the party primaries that produced the Reverend Father on the APC platform. So it was something that was let open for everybody to be a participant. So the person with the highest number got the vote and eventually became the candidate and, of course, want to become the governor of the state with an Idoma paired on the ticket as the deputy governor. So I don't know what sense of belonging that is left out, that there's so much cry about minority or marginalization. I don't quite agree with that, because I believe politics or democracy is a process. Of course, we'll get there someday where the Idomas will also have the chance to become governor. Of course, everything is possible in politics.
Well, I needed to set all of this background so that people can really understand some political issues in Benue State and what's the way forward. Because quite frankly, some states have not been fair to other some regions of a state. For instance, you go to Kogi State. You know, they have also have these same issues, and it's also a problem to democracy because democracy is meant, you know, to power, you know, to be shared among people. Everybody have to feel, you know, the sense of belonging. Though the electoral processes has its own way of operation, where it's under political parties, and you understand party politics. But all of that, you know, I wanted to just put to know if the governor is actually, you know, living to expectation. And of course, was he voted on the grounds that he was a Reverend Father?
Well, the governor wasn't voted on the ground that he's a Reverend Father. Of course, let me give you a background. You know, Benue State, in the last election, we are the only Christian-dominated state in northern Nigeria. And I put it to you, the Muslim ticket that produced President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima won in Benue State. What does that tell you? Benue people are not people that are driven by emotional or religious sentiment. We are people that believe in the Project Nigeria. We do whatever we do is to the benefit of the Project Nigeria and how it benefits Nigerians. So I disagree with that assumption that says that the Reverend Father became a governor because he was a clergyman or a Reverend Father. He won because he was found better than others, given what was on the ticket at that time, representing other political parties. So he stands out the best as at that time, and he got the vote.
You are an APC member.
Sure.
You voted for Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Of course.
Are you really proud of what is happening in the country? Today, I don't know if you've gone to the market, model of Gary, model of rice, where a common Nigerian was able to afford. Let it be in the past administrations and the past government, is actually an issue currently. You know, hunger is actually hitting up the country. People are taking hunger issue to be protesting.
Okay.
You understand the implication of all of this. So are you proud, as Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as a party member, live to the expectations of why you brought renewed hope agenda to Nigerians?
Well, let me remind you, you know, not only did I campaign for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I was a member of the defunct APC Presidential Campaign Council. I've traversed the country soliciting votes and support for the realization and actualization of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's presidency. And of course, I went all out. I saw what people's expectations were. I give you my background. My late father was a trader. More or less, without sounding immodest or in order not to try bringing down my personality, it is not out of place if I say I'm a product of the market square. I understand what it's involved. Of course, it goes down to the point of us having what is known as national ambition, right? I take you to the 16-point agenda of the renewed hope document of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the action plan. On page 27 of that renewed hope action plan, you have commodity boards. Are you not worried? You go to the market, for instance, there are 3 shops on the row. And these 3 shops, each of these 3 shops, there are conflicting prices to a commodity or an item. What does that tell you? Do we blame that on the president?
Who is to be blamed?
Of course. It's governance is not just limited to who is elected.
But government are meant to regulate the prices in the market.
Okay.
That's the law.
Okay.
And that's why recently Falana took to the court, and the Lagos High Court, you know, gave the President Bola Tinubu 7 days to regulate prices in the market. Because these are also the issues.
Sure.
It means that, fine, it was captured in your agenda, but it was not implemented.
Okay.
You know? And then another issues of trying to control the market is that, in as much as you don't know how this person imported his or her goods, how do you want government, you know, to start regulating? So these are the issues. Away from that, the issue of subsidy removal is what has brought the country to where we are. It's one of the #1 issues. We quite understand that it was for good,
of course,
that he brought the issues of subsidy removal. But there was no plan, you know, to manage the crisis that will come after. And all is still, Mr. President is telling us that we should be patient. I understand that you may have to share deeply on the visions of the presidency. But are you not worried that immediate action must be taken to address the issue of hunger? What do you really think that president can do right now?
Anyways,
Or are you okay with the way things are?
No, come on, listen, I am human, okay? This is no time to play politics. Of course, we all buy from the same market. We bought same taxes. We go to same shopping malls. So it's not as if there's a special market that I patronize to get my needs. So I am equally affected by this price hike. But just like I said, you know, if national ambition is what keeps us going, if at all there's any, why do I refer to it as national ambition? We must define for ourselves what we want as a people. We cannot be inflicting pains on ourselves under the guise that, okay, certain things have been done, government policies that have not yielded positive results. Therefore, people should capitalize on that to make life hell to others. I gave you an instance where you go to a market to purchase, and then you have 3 shops on the row, and then they have conflicting prices. There's no uniformity as to a certain price agreed on. And that's why I took you to the commodity board that's in the pipeline. You know, some of these things, it's a process. There are things that they are not going to happen overnight. I am not saying that so far so good, it's been all rosy. Come on, I'll be lying to myself, my conscience. You know, there are 2 people you don't lie to in this life. You don't lie to your conscience, you don't lie to God, right? So whatever I do, it should be that I am doing it from the point of patriotism. I am not doing it because it benefits me. I'll be telling a fat lie if I say all is well. But I will appeal to Nigerians because I'm also a social media influencer. I have written some short articles calling on the president to expedite action in order to have some of these programs we have articulated in our documents, and we showed to the Nigerian people that they felt, okay, we were the best to fly to lead the country to the promised land. So I'll ask for a little bit of patience. At the same time, I still put it to the president. He's the father of the nation. Of course, I've lived in Lagos where he once held sway as the governor, and I can testify to his good works, and I am just hoping and believing that as God gives life and we are still alive, healthy, hopeful, and also believing that things will be done right. Not also excluding our own contribution, because it's governance requires all hands on deck. It's not something that's limited to the elected. It is something that body governed must also come with the will to ensuring that things are done right for the nation to move forward.
Quite frankly, because the situation is worrisome, and the Nigerians are actually looking for ways the president can just take an action that can reduce the issues of hunger. Because you know that it's a say that an hungry man is actually an angry man.
Sure.
Let us not get to the point where people begin to enter the street, you know, and cause mayhem and all of that. We will come back and, of course, also to dwell on the issues regarding food insecurity in the country. And this time, we'll be taking a look at, you know, the issues in Benue State. If Benue are still producing and giving Nigeria food as the food basket of the nation, don't go away. Still, stay with us on Big Talk. I'll be right back. Many thanks for still staying with us on Big Talk tonight. We're taking a look at the issues of food insecurity and, of course, the challenges that the farmers in Benue State, which we know as the food basket of the nations, are currently facing. Quite a lot of issues that are facing, but I have a guest with me, of course, who has been with us to shed more light on these challenges and how government can hasten up processes in addressing these issues so that we may begin to have a lot of food productions in the country, so that the issues of food, can be addressed because of quite a lot of hunger in the land. And quite very frankly, tell us more about issues coming from Benue State productions, because our people, about 85% of your population are into farming. One way or the other, people actually farm. So even if you are working, you have a farm. It means that your revenue and what your state is known for, I may say, is actually agriculture. What are the greatest challenges that farmers are actually facing currently in your state?
Well, that's a fantastic question. Benue State has the capacity to feed the nation. There's no denying that. We are an agrarian state. And I also want to remind you that Nigeria, the agrarian area in Nigeria, like just 35% of agrarian land is cultivated. You have 75% untapped, right? Benue State has what it takes to feed the nation, but there's a huge challenge that the people of Benue, the Benue farmers, so to say, are faced with that needs government urgent attention, and this has to do with security. The security of lives in the state is one thing that calls for urgent attention. Our farmers, a lot of them are not going to the farm. You are aware, you're in the media, it's becoming a recurrent incident that we wake up to get to hear of herders clashes in the state. Just early this month, probably on the 2nd of February or so, it was reported in the media that about 15 persons were killed in the Agatu area of the state. And, our major form of livelihood in the state, just like you said earlier, is farming. And if urgent steps are not taken by the government, this is going to affect the output. When we don't go to the farm, this threat that the people of Nigeria will face hunger. One state alone cannot do it. But Benue State is known for championing this cause of farming agricultural produce to feed the nation. I read yesterday in the media where Nigeria yam is rated as being exported, and I was quick to remind someone that credit goes to the Benue farmers. Of course, there's no denying that. We have the biggest yam market in Nigeria, Zaki yam market.
Benue yam.
Benue yam, sure. So my 7-year-old daughter, whose mother is native, she believes so much in the Benue yam. That's to tell you that there's something special about the Benue agricultural produce. So I am appealing to the president, because there are some of these things that are on exclusive list that only the presidency and the federal government has the right to decide how these things are run. I'm making this appeal that we need more of security presence in our state to guarantee our farmers the confidence that being on the farm is not a suicide mission, that their lives are at stake. So it's my appeal, because we can't afford to have food insecurity.
Quite very frankly, you should talk about issues of farmers, herdsmen clash. These as you led, the emphasis has been on the people not to go, wanting to go to the farm because of they don't want to die, and this has affected that. What has government done so far to manage the clash between the farmers and these herders that are there?
Of course, there's always been dialogue. Peace, it's...
Are they living in the community? Or are you people pursuing them, or they're trying to force themselves to stay? I understand that it's a greener state, and, due to their cattle, they want to, be domiciled in Benue.
Sure.
Are the community not accommodating them? What are the issues?
Of course, if there's any man or woman, if there's any man that accommodates somebody, I think that's the Benue man. We are hospitable people. There's no denying that. We welcome our visitors. We treat even settlers as being equals. There's no denying that. Of course, it's not fair, in all honesty, to make assertion that maybe the Benue farmers or the Benue people are not accommodating the settlers. You know, just like the herder to the herder, the cattle are his form of livelihood. The farmer, his crops, his agricultural farm or whatever it's called, it's what he depends or bank on for survival or means of income. So this is something that it's not something that one will quickly respond to. Honestly, I'll be telling you a big lie if I claim to know the root cause of this. But I can tell you for free, growing up, we lived and in our midst then, you had the visiting elders. You know, the elders are always visiting. They are not domiciled in any state because the rearing of cattle, it's a seasonal thing. It depends on where the green area that the cattle could actually graze. And that's where the conflict comes in. You know, most of the times this happens as a result of the cattle encroaching someone's farm. And in all honesty, you are not going to sit and see your means of livelihood destroyed.
So their cattle, you know, works on their product?
Of course,
on their plants?
Of course, that's where the problem comes. And you also agree that because of civilization, you know, urbanization is also a factor. You know, some of these areas in some time past, they were not modernized. So they were left untouched, and then cattle could freely graze on such areas. But in a situation where you have urbanization taking place and urban migration, these conflicts are bound to happen. But to be fair to my Benue people, I think government needs to appreciate the fact that they need to have that sense of belonging in their own home state. Of course, everybody is traced to a root where he comes. A Benue farmer can, of course, lay claim to a parcel of land or piece of land that belongs to him, that without authorization he's seeing a stranger grazing on. And when these issues are approached, it becomes a problem. I don't think that's the way to go.
Nigeria is facing a lot of challenges currently in the country, you know, and issues of insecurity. You know, it's not just in Benue State, all over the country, even in the Federal Capital Territory is not even safe as well. And one will begin to ask questions because at the moment where our farmers are not being allowed to comfortably be at the farm, it's a concern, and that's the essence of these conversations. We want to see how can government, you know, what should government do with immediate effect to address the issues. I quite understand that the former governor tried his Sam Atom tried his best, you know, in trying to restore the issues of the fight between the farmers and the herders. Has the current governor done any? Has he made any moves in trying to, because recently protests have rocked the town about people, you know, protesting for their pensions, workers are protesting. And if the farming was working, people wouldn't have gone to the street to protest for sometimes what belongs to them. It's just because of hunger issue, which still brought us to, you know, what we're trying to look at. So people going to the street to protest for their pensions is alien to the people of Benue. But we understand that the current hunger issue is actually hitting up, and then these are people. So what has the governor done currently? Because the government is about protecting lives and property of the people.
Sure.
In the moment where people are not safe under you, their properties are not safe under you, it's worrisome. Sometimes you may say, the federal government, the federal government, the federal government. But he is the chief executive officer of the state. I quite understand that sometimes the security issues may be big, like the issues in Plateau State, you know, is bigger than the governor. And that's why the president has, you know, has asked that barracks, you know, in one of those communities be open so that it can actually, you know, situate some policemen and some armed forces men so that they can actually address to some immediate actions of insecurity. But we need to know the effort that is being done by the government, because sometimes it's as if because the governor sometimes will be in Abuja, fly back to Makurdi, he doesn't really understand the pains and what the people are really facing. So a senator will be in Abuja, will be at the National Assembly and be bringing notice of what might have happened, but it's not there. So the people in those communities, that some people have been displaced right now. There are some people are in the IDP camps. You agree with me?
Sure.
They have been moved from their houses to these. And sometimes when people don't really see effort of government, it breaks people's mind. Have you seen the governor doing anything about this?
Anyways, I think it has to do with will. And so far, the governor has shown commitment and that zeal to have this nip in the bud. You will recall there was a security meeting held at the Defense Academy or something like, I think Defense College or so, here in Abuja, where the governors of the North Central region were in attendance. Of course, our governor was also part of that. And I stand to refute that claim that says that protests have been experienced in the state as a result of non-payment of pensions. Maybe you're referring to what was happening in the time past, but of course not today. I tell you for free, the governor as of today is referred to as Mr. 25th. Salaries are regularly paid, pensioners are paid. So the governor, more than ever before, is one governor that the people accept. He's with the people and the people understand. He came with clear intentions. He is there to serve the interest of the people, and he's not just there for the good of the office. I'm not holding brief for the governors. This is one thing that I am doing out of patriotism and with deep knowledge and understanding of how the security thing works. There's no crisis that the governor is capable of handling, given that the present security situation or apparatus are under the control of the presidency, or the president as it were.
Now, some states have launched, community policing.
Sure.
This effort by governor.
Sure.
They did not need to wait for the presidency to intervene.
Okay.
So sometimes the efforts might not necessarily be, doing much. It might be about trying to bring the community together, seeing what they can do to protect themselves, either meeting with the headers, if they have a body or if they have a leadership or if they have a group. These are the solutions to put to rest. Because I quite understand that we have war and we have diplomacy. Sometimes you may use war to get what you want. Sometimes you may use diplomacy to get what you want. So if the people of Benue are fighting the headers, that has been using war, to fight against, your issue. Has diplomacy been employed in the issue? I quite understand that you're trying to be, you're trying to dodge away from the, commenting on all of that, probably because of some concern that you have that I don't know. But we need to know, because this is the purpose of these conventions.
Okay.
As journalists, we need to know what effort is being made. Has diplomacy been used away from the war? Because war is about fighting back. People of Benue have been fighting the headers. They have been killing the headers, and the headers have been killing them too. So the government need to review these actions and use another strategies, to address the issue. So what I mean by what has the governor done? It's about, has he called meeting of the headers? Has he meet with the communities of the people? If probably you don't want to say about it quite, I may actually know that you don't want to make a comment on that.
Do you want to answer on that?
That's the purpose I've asked you.
Anyways, security issues are
or they don't want peace at all?
No. There's nobody, no human on earth that does not want peace. Mm-hmm. Without peace, you cannot achieve anything. Mm. Because if this country becomes a war-torn zone, we'll all be running helter-skelter. Mm-hmm. So I don't think there's any human on earth that is opposed to peace. And for the records, the governor, the biggest monster is unemployment, right? When you talk about insecurity, unemployment also makes insecurity festers, right? Or wrong, right, I guess. Mm. When you see a government that is in place, you may have read in the media, you're a journalist, which I believe you're following up events in the state. It's only recently that the government of today, under the leadership of Reverend Father Hyson Eomem, earlier engaged in mass recruitment into the Benue State University Teaching Hospital. The same thing was replicated in the fire service of the Benue State, right? So these things are meant to bring people together. You know, an idle hand, they say, is the devil's workshop. So we cannot talk insecurity without making deliberate efforts in ensuring that these things are cut or are nipped in the bud. So it's on that ground that I am giving the governor a pass mark, and to attest to the fact that this is for him showing readiness to address this thing using all means of communication or available approach to address these issues. And one of them, which is large-scale employment in the state to curb the issue of crime. And, you know, insecurity is the mother of all of these vices. Crime is under insecurity, just like the idle hands are taken to crime for survival. So I think the governor is making deliberate efforts in ensuring that these issues are addressed. That is on the part of diplomacy.
Well, you've made some quite analysis, though you have been diplomatic with words, which I quite may understand that as a chieftains of FPC, you may have your personal reasons, but we do hope that Benue, you know, Nigeria know Benue to be the food basket of the nations, and of course it's a dream that we get more food coming from Benue, and the farmers of Benue are able to go back to the farm, you know, swiftly to, you know, make productions, because when there is no farming, when there is no production, you know, the economy, you know, is at danger, is at risk. And that's a much we'll be taking from Sesu, who is the APC chieftain from Benue State, but domiciled in Abuja. Are you looking for appointment in Abuja? Because you have been with your people in Makurdi.
No, no. Of course, I not. You know,
you are residing in the federal capital.
I am residing here, running around for my businesses, and of course, it would not be out of place if I'm also looking for an appointment, because I also worked tirelessly for the enthronement of this present government. So just like the saying goes, a worker deserves his wages. If I have given so much to the coming on board of the presidency of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu,
you have done something different? If you are given appointment, would you do something different?
Oh, come on, I think I have gone around. I'm in tune with what's happening. Right. I'm a grassrooter, and I can tell you for free that I understand what's going on. If given an opportunity, I'll make the difference. There's no question about that. I have the capacity, what it takes.
I wish you all the best.
Thanks.
In your political journey.
Thank you.
Many thanks for having us. Of course, still staying with us on tonight's Big Talk here on Global Television. I remain your host, Edikan Michael. Many thanks for watching.